There are seasons in life when we feel like God is distant or silent, and this can be unsettling. We may seek His voice, ask for His guidance, and pray for direction, but instead of clear answers, we encounter quiet. These moments of silence can make us feel abandoned or even forgotten. But what if God's silence is not a sign of His absence? What if it's His way of communicating with us on a deeper level? In the stillness, God often speaks to us in ways that are more profound than words. When we learn to understand and embrace His silence, we can grow spiritually, trust Him more deeply, and recognize that He is still actively working in our lives. Today, we will explore 7 clear signs that God is speaking to you through silence and how you can find comfort, strength, and direction in these quiet moments. 1. You're drawn to moments of stillness and prayer. One of the most significant signs that God is speaking to you through silence is when you feel drawn to quiet moments of stillness and prayer. Even though you may not hear a clear message, there is an unmistakable pull towards spending time in God's presence. You might feel a deep desire to sit quietly in prayer, to seek His face without expecting immediate answers. This is not just a random occurrence. God is inviting you to be still before Him. Silence is not the absence of communication but an invitation to experience God's presence in a new way. In a world filled with noise and distractions, God's silence calls you to quiet your mind and focus your heart on Him. It's in these moments of stillness that God prepares your heart for what's to come, teaching you patience, humility, and dependence on Him. God is saying, "Come, be still with me." Even when you don't hear His voice, He is planting seeds of peace and trust in your spirit. He may not give you answers right away, but He is shaping your heart to receive His will and preparing you for a deeper relationship with Him. 2. You find peace amidst uncertainty. When God seems silent, it's often during times of confusion or difficulty. We seek His guidance, asking for clarity about the challenges we face, and when He doesn't respond immediately, we might feel frustrated. Yet, one of the signs that God is speaking to you through silence is when you experience a deep, unexplainable peace amidst the uncertainty. This peace is a gift from God, a reassurance that even though you don't know what's coming next, He is in control. In the silence, God may not be giving you all the details, but He's letting you know that you don't have to worry. His peace serves as a reminder that He is present, working behind the scenes for your good, even when you can't see it. God's peace transcends circumstances. It's a calm that comes from trusting Him with the unknown. Even when you don't hear His voice, His peace speaks louder than words, assuring you that He is guiding your path. In the silence, He is reminding you to trust His process and lean on Him, not on your understanding. 3. You feel a strong sense of rest in your spirit. Another sign that God is speaking to you through silence is when you feel a deep sense of rest in your spirit. This isn't just physical rest, it's a spiritual calm that invites you to slow down and trust in God's timing. You may feel a strong pull to stop striving and simply rest in His presence. God uses silence to remind us that we don't have to be in control. In a world that celebrates busyness and productivity, God's invitation to rest can feel counterintuitive. But this rest is not about being idle, it's about surrendering your efforts and trusting that God is working on your behalf. In the silence, He is teaching you to let go of your anxieties and trust that He has everything under control. When you feel this call to rest, it's a sign that God is nurturing your soul for the next chapter of your journey. He's giving you the strength you need to continue, but in His perfect timing. Trust that in the silence, He is restoring and renewing you for what's ahead. 4. You become more aware of God's presence. In moments of silence, you may find yourself becoming more aware of God's presence than ever before. Without the distractions of daily life, you begin to sense that He is near, even though He may not be speaking audibly. This awareness of His presence is one of the clearest signs that God is communicating with you through the silence. God doesn't always need to speak to let you know He's with you. Sometimes, His presence is enough. You might feel His peace surrounding you, or you may sense His comfort in your heart. This is God's way of saying, "I'm here. I'm with you." Even though He may not be giving you the answers you seek, His presence is a reminder that you are never alone. This awareness of God's presence can be a transformative experience. It deepens your relationship with Him and reminds you that He is always near, even when He's quiet. The silence is not empty, it's filled with His love and assurance that He is watching over you. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to hit the like button. Your support helps God's plan reach more people with the message of God's love and hope. Thank you for being part of this journey. 5. You're learning to walk by faith, not by sight. One of the most powerful ways God speaks through silence is by teaching us to walk by faith, not by sight. In seasons of silence, God may not give you all the details of His plan, but He calls you to trust Him regardless. This is when your faith is tested and strengthened the most. When you're walking by faith, you're choosing to trust God's promises even when you can't see how they'll unfold. You may not have all the answers, but you have a deep sense of assurance that God is guiding your steps. This kind of faith is built in the silence, where you learn to depend not on what you can see, but on God's unseen hand at work. God's silence during these times is an invitation to trust Him more deeply. He's asking you to let go of your need for control and believe that He is leading you, even when you can't see the full picture. Walking by faith is one of the greatest ways to honor God's voice, even when it's not audible. 6. Doors are closing, but you feel a sense of peace. During seasons of silence, you may notice that certain doors in your life begin to close. Opportunities you once thought were meant for you might slip away, and relationships may change. While this can be discouraging, if you find yourself feeling peaceful despite the closed doors, it's a sign that God is speaking to you. Closed doors aren't a sign of failure, they're often God's way of redirecting you towards something better. Even when you don't understand why things didn't work out, you can still feel hopeful and trust that God is leading you in a new direction. In the silence, He is shifting your path and guiding you to where you need to be. God's silence during these times is a reminder to trust His timing. If doors are closing, take comfort in knowing that He is preparing the right path for you, and in His perfect time, new doors will open. 7. You feel called to surrender completely. The final sign that God is speaking to you through silence is when you feel a deep call to surrender. In moments of silence, you may realize that you can't control everything, and you sense that God is asking you to let go of your plans, worries, and fears. Surrender is difficult, but it's one of the most powerful ways to experience God's grace. When you feel this call to surrender, it's a sign that God is inviting you to trust Him fully. He's asking you to let go of your own understanding and rely completely on His wisdom and love. In the silence, God is teaching you to surrender your heart to Him. He's reminding you that His plans for you are greater than anything you could imagine, and when you let go, you make room for His divine purpose to unfold in your life. If you've found encouragement in this message, consider subscribing to God's Plan. Join our community as we continue to share God's Word, inspire faith, and walk together in His purpose. Don't miss out, hit that subscribe button now.